In today's episode, Mike and I talk about how we got surprised at birthday parties in our past, and also, most importantly, how to open the dance floor. And then it really gets sideways, and we even talk about how we close the dance floor. So tune in.
Tonight's DJNTV show is sponsored in part by Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, ADJ, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, Newmark, and DJNTV Insiders.
Welcome back, everybody. It is the PHDJ podcast. This is Joe Bunn on the other end.
What's going on, my friend Joe? How are you?
There he is.
How are you, man?
The young legend.
Yeah,
I started adding young to
I know
it.
you started adding that because when I hear legend, I get offended. It's a little.
The young legend, Mike Walter, everybody. Welcome back to the show. I hope everybody is having a good, I guess it's not, I think tomorrow is technically the first day of summer.
I think so. I thought about that yesterday. I got my first beach day in yesterday, and I actually took a dip in the Atlantic, and it's still a little cold.
It was a little nippy.
But to me, that's my official, like, that's when summer has begun. And, yeah, I got it in right before summer actually officially has begun. I think that's tomorrow.
I was in the ocean.
What they call the summer solstice, right?
There you go.
Longest day of the year.
That's tomorrow. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the beginning of summer.
Or it would be, I guess, the day we launch when you guys listen to this, summer solstice.
There you go. That's right.
Happy summer solstice, people.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
What else is going on, Mike? Everything good?
You know what, Joe? I know you have a topic you want to talk about, but I just saw a picture of you in a tuxedo on Facebook. Tell me about that.
That happened. That actually happened. Well, Jana and I burned ours a few years ago.
I know. Why all the vitriol against a tuxedo?
I don't know.
It's a tuxedo, dude. I don't get it. It's actually, like, to me, it's one of the classiest things. Well, if you burn something that you paid for, I don't know what else to call it. There's obviously some inner anger there. I don't know if you've ever discussed that with a therapist, but so, I mean, it's you could have donated it to, you know what I mean? You could have,
yes, I did.
You could have had it cut up for other purposes, but you literally took it into a backyard, right, and burned it. So to me, there's some anger issues there. You might want to have that checked out. But I don't get it. Why? Explain it to our listeners. Why the negativity about
I think
what
it
is
was
considered the classiest look the gentleman
I think it was more just kind of putting aside the old wedding DJ, look and fashion and everything else. And to be fair, that was the OG tuxedo from my wedding about 15 years before, which I had tried to wear a couple of times since. It fit, mind you. However, when people were like, listen, if you buy a tuxedo, they never go out of style. This shit was out of style. And I don't know.
Easily have a problem with you burning the clothes that you got married in. There's also some symbolism there, Joe, that you might want to drill down on. I mean, women buy a wedding dress and they usually have it packaged and put away.
It's in the top of her closet.
They'll probably never wear it again, but they preserve it.
I hope she never wears it again.
You burned. Your wife doesn't listen to this show.
No.
Kelly never listens to this show. Yeah.
Thank God.
So I feel safe talking. Not that I would ever talk bad about her, but yeah, I feel confident that I'm never going to have to deal with hearing like, "Hey, I heard the show today." Kelly hears enough from me blabbering.
Right.
That's the last thing she needs.
I think I may have lied about it anyway.
So you didn't tell.
I think I said that I got them from
Hey, honey, guess what I did today?
The defect rack. No, she was there because all the neighbors started coming out. It got a little bit out of control. It was on a beach that you're not supposed to burn on, and it was a scene. But anyway, last night was, how I'm a big fan of Nace and Aaliyah, and so our Aaliyah chapter here celebrated, that's the International Live Events Association, for those of you who don't know, it celebrated our 20th anniversary for the Raleigh-Durham chapter. So it was really cool, man. Randy was the DJ.
It was a black tie affair, I assume?
It said black tie optional, but I'm like, listen, all right. I don't wear a tux. I had these tux pants for some reason that I think I wore with like just a sport coat one time. So I rapidly got on Top Man last week and ordered a updated tux jacket. And busted out.
So you purchased it. I was going to ask if you rented it.
Good. I purchased it. I own a tuxedo.
And when will we be burning this one?
This summer.
this summer.
Whenever Jan I comes to the beach. I'm just kidding.
I suggest you. I thought you looked very handsome.
Thank you, man.
And dapper.
I got a lot of compliments.
Or as my dad used to say, snazzy. That was my dad's word.
That's a good word.
No, you look snazzy. My dad would say. That's how I knew I was dressed up.
I felt like I looked handsome. I felt confident. I did feel very cool. I felt very James Bond. And several gay men slid into my direct messages to tell me that I looked
good.
Very happy.
Hey, that's the ultimate compliment as far as I'm concerned.
I felt like I had made it.
Instead of destroying this one,
yes.
I would keep it in the back of your closet, and you never know when you're going to need it again.
I took the shoes. They weren't sneakers. I had them polished for that day. I put them in a shoe bag, and I put a bag over the tuxedo, and I put them in the closet.
Good for you. And at the next PHDJ workshop, I expect you to break that out. And
Day one.
We'll make it black tie the next DJ workshop.
Day one is black tie, everybody. In Vegas. We're going Rat Pack status.
Right. Day two is shorts and tank tops.
Yes,
we'll just do the
standard. Right. All right. So, well, thank you for your compliment, Mike. I will keep the tuxedo, and we will be moving on into a topic today brought to us by a listener. It could have been months ago. We stockpile these things for you guys and fire them out when we can. Chris McMahon. You know Chris?
I think I do. Yeah.
I do. I think I know him. But prepping for an event is what we're going to talk about today, Mike. So everything from speaking to the couple, getting your music together, the planner that you use, if you use a paper or iPad, all that stuff, we're going to get into that today.
Well, you know what, Joe? I actually think we could have segued a little smoother there because you obviously did a really good job of preparing last night. You knew the dress code.
I did.
Which I don't know if everybody asks that of their clients, but, when you do a wedding, you should find out. Is it black tie? Is it semi-formal? Is it formal? So that should be part of your preparation, and you obviously did a good job of that last night, and that's why you dressed appropriately.
Well, I think this is a good way to kind of approach the first part of this, Mike, which is the planner, the online planner that we use. And right. I'm certain that you guys at Elite, and go ahead, who are we going to mention now?
We should just
let's pay him. Let's pay Troy.
We should just we use the same planner. We will not mention what that planner is on this podcast for reasons our other sponsors have asked us to stop mentioning the.
No, they haven't.
Yes, we both use DJ Event Planner, and right. This is a question that if it is not on your planner, it should be, and it's 100%. A great way for you never to forget to ask. And that is one of the great things of any planner. If you still are old school and use a paper planner, I'll give you an example. A few years ago, when hashtags at weddings became a thing, we added that as a question to our planner.
100%.
We realized, hey, this is pertinent information. We should have this at our fingertips. We want to post to Instagram and share pictures, and we wanted, the bride to see them. So that was a question that we added.
100%, Mike. So speaking of, before we get too far into this, and I think you've just based off all the pictures I have of you for our Earn Your PHDJ Instagram. You like that little plug there? You're a suit guy, right? You wear a suit now. You used to wear tux.
Most of the weddings I do, I wear a suit. Sometimes it's 3-piece, sometimes it's 2-piece. I actually do like a 3-piece suit because when I take the jacket off, I feel like it's more formal. Of a finished look still with the vest. But then, I learned years ago, I let the groom dictate. And I'll give you a perfect example. Saturday night, I did a crazy wild wedding. Yeah. And it was a warm room. They had the windows open. It overlooked the ocean, so they had the windows open. But it got a little stuffy in the room. Mm-hmm. And halfway through the party, I looked over and the groom had removed his tie, opened his collar, rolled up his sleeves. So I did the same. I had already lost my jacket by that point. Not lost it, but taken it off. Mm-hmm. And then once I saw the groom, I took my tie off, and I don't think I rolled up my sleeves, but I went to that attire because I let him dictate the kind of the look and feel of the night. Yeah,
not to make this a whole episode about attire, but we pretty much do that. I don't think I've done the loosen the tie, roll up the sleeves kind of thing because I feel like sometimes it can kind of look a little sloppy, but I agree with you. When the groom loses his jacket, I tell my guys, you're welcome to take your jacket off. If he's rolling like that, go ahead.
Right.
The other thing.
Hey, by the way, are you watching Nick Spinelli's videos?
Yeah, I watch most of them.
Yeah, he did one. If people want just another source of what I consider to be good, pertinent, sometimes controversial. I like Nick because sometimes he teeters on the edge, and I don't always agree with him.
Yeah.
But I do agree that he's always entertaining, and he's got a good point about things. Look up Nick Spinelli on social media. He did a video recently about fashion, which again I didn't agree with everything. I disagreed with, and I even made a joke about when I commented. But he's another interesting perspective. Anyway.
But the one last thing on the attire thing, I did make a rule, especially here in the South, I don't know, probably 5 years ago, Mike, that for when we do the ceremony audio, which is, probably up there as well. I mean, out of the 400 or so weddings we do a year, it's literally over a third, where they add us to do the ceremony audio. We wear the company polo. And then we change into our jacket when we. Yeah,
I haven't gone to that yet.
We can't do it, man. Honestly.
This weekend I was roasting twice. I did, and I had my jacket on. A Friday night I actually had brought a change of shirt, so I literally after the ceremony was over, I brought everything inside during cocktail hour because I had literally sweated through. But I haven't done that yet, just because I look out and I see the guests are in. Full formal attire at that point. Although sometimes you can tell they're pretty miserable being in that attire. I haven't done that yet, but I don't think there's a right or a wrong to it.
No, right. But so let's move forward, Mike, and talk a little bit more about let's start, I guess, from the early stages, which is this. I guess y'all call it a final planning meeting or a final planning call, and you and I have talked about this ad nauseum, I feel like, on the show, where I do it the week of, because my long-term memory is so bad, and you guys do it, I think, you haven't
changed that policy.
I have not. I have not.
We've actually discussed that on the air.
We have. Now, listen, I do implement things that you tell me. You are a role model and mentor to me.
No, listen, so. I respect that you have analyzed that policy and you're sticking with it. So I think that's fine. So what happens is an email goes out, an automated email to our DJs 6 weeks before a wedding. Okay. And it says, this wedding is coming up. It's time for you to contact. Now, we have promised the client that the DJ will contact a month in advance. So that gives us a little bit of leeway. Yep. I usually contact my client as soon as I get that reminder email, because I always think good customer service is exceeding the client's expectations.
Sure.
If they expect us to contact a month in advance and I do 6 weeks, then they're like, oh, great. Yeah, I'm 2 weeks early. And sometimes it takes you a week or two just to make contact with somebody and set up an appointment. So now we're still right around that month in advance.
Okay. And Mike, is that a phone call or an email?
It's both. So I've instructed my DJs they should call. And we all know 99% of the time nowadays, we all get voicemail. Nobody picks up their phone anymore. So call, leave a message, and then email. And I have a pretty standard email that goes out that says, I just left you a message. Here's my direct email. Let's touch base and see if we can set up an appointment.
Now, that appointment, Mike, are you encouraging face-to-face if they live in the...
Definitely encouraging. For example, it is Wednesday morning right now at 8:40. I have a 9 o'clock Skype with a client, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to get on this call early. So, with technology nowadays, some clients consider it a convenience. I want it to be convenient for the bride and groom.
Same.
I would prefer a face-to-face appointment. And again, keep in mind, our policy is a little bit different. I probably haven't met this client in the run-up to I might have met them in the sales process, but I didn't handle the sales the way your DJs are. Sure. So often when I meet with my client a month in advance, it is the first time that I'm meeting with them, maybe other than stepping into their sales appointment and shaking their hand and meeting them quickly, that they're actually sitting down with me. And that same goes with anyone on my staff other than Dominic and Chris, who do the frontline sales.
Sure. Yeah, for us, I mean, a little different, because, again, the DJs each do the individual sales. So they've met the people 8 to 12 months ago usually. And then even in that initial consultation, Mike, they'll say, you'll get a series of emails. And I'm pretty upfront about it. I'll say, they're trickle emails just to let you know, we're still thinking about you. And some of them are salesy, Mike, hey, have you booked a photo booth? And some are helpful. Here are the tips for to pass along to your best man that's giving a toast. There's a few just trickle automated emails that go out over that 9 or 12 months. And then a week or so before they get the final, hey, let's set up a call email. And then, normally, like I said, I mean, granted, like you said, it's pushed right up to the wedding date. But I've never had somebody say, this is a bad time for us. And so I guess that's why I keep it that way. But at that point, it is usually not face-to-face, Mike. It's an actual, I would say the average, I call it the advance call, is 15 minutes. And we're both looking at this planner that I'm looking at right now. So I've logged in and I'm looking at their planner on DJ Event Planner, and I pretty much have told them, hey, have your planner pulled up. And then anything that they haven't filled out, I'll help them. Or if I see something that's kind of weird in the scheduling, maybe we'll talk about it. Of course, I'll go through all the names. I'll go through all the special songs. Is your first dance still wonderful tonight, or whatever it is. And then, boom, I will see.
How many times have your clients filled out? What's the percentage of your clients that fill out the planner?
97.
Okay, that's pretty high. I'd say ours is probably closer to 3/4. Mm-hmm. We still have some old school clients that, when I sit down with them and I open up their planner, or I would have done it in advance, it's empty. And I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I go back to the day where when I met with my client face to face a month in advance, I knew nothing about their wedding yet, and I had no problem taking notes and everything else. So to me, sometimes the planner, some clients come to my office and everything is filled out, and other than kind of going through it and checking pronunciations of names, there's not much else to talk about. So I feel like, shoot, I don't want them to be here for 10 minutes and feel like it was a waste of a trip. So you almost have to come up with ways of like extending the meeting. So I have a kind of a love-hate relationship with the planner anyway.
Yeah, I mean, so speaking of the planner, Mike, is there anything else you want to add about this kind of?
Well, the one thing I think I've mentioned this when it comes to the face-to-face meeting. So I open up the planner before I meet with a client, and I usually will populate a playlist. And when I get to the wedding song, I will play it no matter what. And this way, I just make sure this is the right version. This is the artist that we intended, everything else. But then I will often, when it's in my office, just make a joke. Yeah. Did you guys want to get up and first dance? And, 90% of the time they laugh and don't. But I've had moments where clients go, sure. And we literally move the coffee table out of the way and they dance for 30 seconds. It can be a fun kind of, and to me, I go, oh, this is going to be a cool couple. Like if you'll do that in the DJ's office, then you're going to be a pretty cool couple.
Yeah, it's funny how over the years, so many years of doing this between you and I, how we have these little things like I have this thing where, during cocktail hour, or the cocktail hour ends, or maybe the cocktail hour is in the same room as dinner. And so everybody maybe comes from the ceremony or, comes from church, and they walk in the room. And if everybody walks in and sits down, I'm like, this is going to be rough.
Yeah,
because when I go to a party, and when I go to a party, like you're physically basically having to get on the mic or walk over and say, bro, sit down. It's time to eat or whatever. Because I just want to mingle and I want to talk. If people walk in and sit down, I'm like, oh, shit. Here we go.
I'll give you another little thing that I do, and this just helps me. Yeah. When I go through the bridal party names, this will often happen where we get to a bridesmaid or a groomsman, and the client will say, oh, you did their wedding 4 years ago, or, and you may or may not remember, how many weddings you do. But I always then put an asterisk next to that. So when I'm lining up the bridal party, I know, oh, Tracy, I did her wedding. And by that point, I've probably looked her up and how long ago did I do it. And a bride is always flattered. Hey, yeah, of course I remember you. Now, I may or may not have, but because the couple gave me that, so that's an indication I always do.
That's nice. That's nice. Yeah. Well, so now, Mike, let's kind of move from this planner to a professional wedding planner. How often? How many weddings?
God, not a lot.
Really? How many weddings a year do you do?
I'm personally doing about 40 to 50.
Okay, me too. I do about 40.
Maybe once a year I deal with a plan. Yes, I'm not kidding at all. It is not a popular thing in New Jersey.
Wow.
At least for the weddings I do. Sure. Maybe some of the higher end weddings they are.
I feel like you're pretty high end. You're Mike Walter.
Listen, I think we're a Nordstrom's.
Versus what, Gucci?
Versus, I guess. I know that there are higher end department stores. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but I feel like we're in Nordstrom's. What does that mean? Middle to high end? I'm not sure. But I think that there are certainly. I mean, there are some banquet halls, for example, in New Jersey that we hardly play, that recommend us, but we hardly play at because they get bands. They get not even bands, orchestras at most of their weddings. So yes, there are definitely higher end weddings, and I think maybe those are the type that have these wedding planners where you don't even really deal with the bride and groom. You're dealing with a planner a lot. But I thank the lucky stars. I rarely get that.
I see. I'm kind of the opposite because I feel like that I'm in that, you know, mid to high end weddings, and I feel like out of the 40 I do, I maybe get half that have an actual wedding planner where I know her, I know of her company. They have a legit website. I'm not talking about somebody's aunt or cousin, you know, that's doing one wedding. These usually females, some males, have done hundreds of weddings. So that's when things get a little bit dicey in terms of the planning process, because part of their job is to make this Excel spreadsheet or this Microsoft Word document. And then also, usually my bride has filled out my planner. So now, and this will kind of segue me to this next part, I've got these two documents that I then combine into my own version. Because if I print out the version that I ask my clients to do, it's about 5 pages on DJ Event Planner. And then if I had another 2 pages from this one, now I've got 7 pages of paper.
And your head is buried in paper the whole night. And to me, that you can't entertain.
No. I have made a document on Pages, which is a Apple product, which is the same as Microsoft Word, and it has a graph in it, so I guess I could have used numbers, which is their equivalent of Excel, but it basically just has the fields that I fill out. So it has 3 columns: the time, what the event is, and then what song goes with it, and then maybe a 4th column that actually has a note. So literally, I can usually do on a page and a half on an iPad, on the small iPad, which I have sitting right up in my face. I redo the entire schedule on that Pages document.
Right.
And now, does that take me an extra, sometimes hour, to sit there and kind of scour through them and copy and paste things? Yes. Is it totally worth it? Yes, because again,
no doubt, it is totally worth it.
And you do that, Mike? Do you use an iPad for introductions or paper?
It's funny. I don't. To me, a timeline is much less important than a playlist.
100%.
And keeping a playlist, and this is one of the things I wanted to talk about, as you said, preparation for gigs.
Yeah.
To me, keeping your playlist organized saves you so much time and effort.
100%.
Like I just said, if you're looking at pieces of paper or iPad notes or whatever all night long, you are not entertaining.
Yep.
And the more you prepare for your events, the less you have to be double checking. Even to the point of, and again, I know I've made this point before, you know, I have Serato set up so that when I play a song, it turns it blue.
Sure, me too.
And then it stays that way till I clear history. So when I show up at an event, or sometimes earlier in the day before I get there, I will play any of the songs that a bride doesn't want to hear during the night.
Oh, that's right.
So this way, there's no way I can accidentally play. You know, I had one this weekend. What was a popular song that they didn't want? I think it was Billie Jean. So now there's a song that's in my party playlist, and I could, without double checking my notes, I could accidentally play Billie Jean, but I played it before the event. So if I did go to accidentally play it, it shows up as blue. And so I'm either going to skip by it or say, wait, I didn't play. Oh, that's right. It's on her no list. So instead of me now having to check my notes all night long, what songs didn't she want to hear? I want to make sure I don't have to do that. I've created a fail-safe system for you don't want to hear We Are Family? I'm going to play it before you show up. It's going to be blue. I won't
I love that. Yeah, I remember talking about that on here before.
And that is all about preparation.
100%. So, Mike, do you go into some? So I go into some events, weddings really, and I will literally have prepared 5 playlists. So especially if they're very specific, and here's what they would be like if they
like ceremony, dinner,
like if they had said, Joe, we want this type of music and these artists for the prelude, the first 30 minutes while the guests are sitting,
and you've set up a playlist for that.
Then we have these 4 songs during the ceremony. Then cocktail hour, we like these bands. Dinner, we like these bands, and then dancing. I mean, that's legitimately 5 playlists.
That's legit. Right. And again, that you have done
preparation. Yep.
Rather than at the wedding, you're going, oh, where's all my Jack Johnson? She wanted Jack Johnson during dinner. And again, it just frees you up to entertain and also to observe, which is one of the things that we should be doing. You know, it's the reason why when a client says, hey, can you play these 50 songs of my wedding in this order? You have to say no to that, because that kind of restriction, you have to be observing the crowd.
You got to be able to flex.
Right. And if you're and if you're looking through and you're searching for songs that you should have had in advance, then you're not observing and you're not entertaining.
100%, man. You'll feel
I shared this tip on the graduate group a couple days ago, and I did it in preparation for this weekend. Saturday night, I had a wedding with a number of dedications. They had probably 10 different songs they wanted dedicated to different people or groups or things. And so what I do in that situation is within Serato, I change the file name. So let's say they wanted Train. What's the song by Train? Hey Soul Sister was one of them. Mm-hmm. So Hey Soul Sister dedicated to the Babcock crew. Okay. So I wrote 6/16/18. So this way, if I forget to delete the comment next week when I see it, I'll go, oh, that's a best comment. Dedicate to Babcock. I write that right on. So now in my I don't have to check my notes all night. Oh, which songs were dedicated? It tells me right there on Serato.
In the comment section.
Not even in the comment. I changed the title of the song to Hey Soul Sister 6/16/18 dedicate to Babcock Crew.
Which you can change back just as easy next week.
I can change it while it's playing.
Sure.
As soon as I do the dedication and hit play, I can literally delete that text part, and now it's done. So that's what, again, that goes to preparation. Sometimes you don't have to prepare at a wedding like that, but this past Saturday, again, I had a number of different dedications. I didn't want to forget any, nor did I want to be looking at my notes all night, so I did that in preparation.
So, Mike, just in kind of wrapping up this music section and wrapping up the thing, because I know you got your other call today, in that music preparation section, right? So you've let's say they only give you 15 songs, you know, must plays or something like that. And you've got those in the dance set list. And then are you like me to where you look at people's reaction to the cocktail music or look at their age or the demographic
my God, of course.
And then start going, okay, they got Signed, Sealed, Delivered. I'm going to slide RESPCT in here, and I'm going to slide
here's one of the things I do. I like it when a client gives me the last song of the night. Yeah. Because the way I set my playlist up, their party playlist for the night, is I put all the must plays first, and then the last, whatever their last song choice is, I put that in. And then I put all their play if possibles underneath that. So I know instantly when I look at my playlist, as long as I'm sorting it by number, not by BPM. Right. I know instantly what songs do I have to play and what songs would they like me to get to. And then this way throughout the night, if somebody comes up and asks me for a request, as long as it's not on their don't play list, I put it in the playlist, but it comes in underneath the last song of the night. So I know I'd like to get to that, but it's not one of the client's must plays. Right. Yeah. So if you keep your playlist organized that way, I can always click on, I can always shuffle it by number. Sure. And then go, oh, last song of the night, like Saturday night, I ended with That's What Friends Are For. So any song underneath That's What Friends Are For, I knew, all right, that's a play if possible. They picked that song? That was, it was kind of a throwback.
That's a way throwback.
Kind of different. So that's one of the ways I keep my playlist organized, and I just find it really helps me.
I love that.
Yeah. You know, Joe, when you sent me this topic, I said, I think this is more than one podcast worth, and it clearly is, because we're just about a half hour. Yeah. And I don't think we've finished, right? I mean, we have other things to talk about. So
of course,
I think we could do a second version of preparation.
I'll make a note of it right now. But hopefully you guys got something out of this episode. We talked about speaking to the couple. We talked a little bit about the planner, the online planner, and if you get one from a wedding planner. Talked a little bit about the music. So hopefully, Chris McMahon, you're satisfied. I'll make a note on here that there's probably a part 2 somewhere, and we'll be on to the next one. Mike, do you know off the top of your head the dates for PHDJ 2019, Las Vegas, Nevada? Do you know those dates?
Why would you put me on the spot like that? No, I don't. Wait, let me guess. Okay. March 15th and 16th. No.
14th?
14th and 15th.
You got it.
14th.
Next
Which
workshop.
means Mobile Beat starts March 11th.
I think that's right. That Monday, right?
So that Monday would be March 11th. So your plan, if you are looking to have the greatest year ever in 2019, should be arrive in Las Vegas March 10th.
Yeah.
10th. Be ready to go Monday morning from Mobile Beat. 3.5 days of intensive education at Mobile Beat. Sign up for the PHDJ workshop. Join us Thursday afternoon, all day Friday. You leave Las Vegas Friday night with a
giant full of info,
just packed with ideas and concepts and strategies to make 2019 the greatest year ever.
Yes, sir.
How's that?
You nailed it. PHDJworkshop.com. Nailed it. Thanks, guys, for listening. We'll be back next week.
Ciao.
See you.